ladies and gentlemen. Of course, that is me, myself, of course. That is me there, of course. Now scratch line 1, scratch line 2, of course. I'm just trying, and then of course we went that much there, but of course, as we said, that is basically all of the speakers and then what they are supposed to do, and then of course is that. So we just quite a talk of it is quite analytical, and then is all opinions and feedbacks of the individuals, and then whoever is responsible. But as areas of different areas of our today analysis, of course, we have a few areas that we will be tackling, and then we have areas to do with the farms, and then area to do with the foods. Of course, basically, as being different youth in the societies, and then of course, mostly farming is there. Of course, myself, I cannot claim I will do all the kind of jobs. So as I'm choosing also within my self-employments, and then within my areas of employments, of course, I encountered, this is my area of management here, and then I do my managements here, and then they are called also employments, they are also called jobs, and they are also called career. I have my career in accounting, and then I have my career in payroll, of course, which relate to banking basics, and areas of our banking, of course, that is banking, we said, of course, they are called as Strong Finance Bank, and this bank as ZI Bank, of course. As all of the youth, of course, this is a priority for every youth, of course, to decide which areas, of course, they will be able to qualify within their career. So when we talk of a career is something very specific made for human beings, either like me, either like you, and whoever else. And then, of course, on which the individual choose the jobs which they want and they love to do on routine 1, on routine 2, that is fitting their societies on daily basis, and recognizing what societies they really love, live in, or love to live in. And then basically, if we talk of youth societies, and then the economies, or the salaries, and then of course this is employments, Every employment here, if I talk of the Strong Finance Bank employment, of course, as being the self-employed, of course, I do all the jobs here voluntarily, and then this voluntary work, we have a contract of different. I have my personal contract of $54 million each year. I will get the contract. If I fail to get the contract, and then the contract is initially documented, and then with that documents, and then we reserve it, and then we put it as addition right of debts, okay, at the end of each year, and then on which we also claim portionally, and then portionally we also show some fiscal year reports, each year's at the end of each December, and then to the start of January each year. And then we do recognize we have a fiscal years for this bank, and then for our company. So that is what we do there, and then which is basically economies. That is when we're tackling the economies of the societies, the economy of the youth, the economy of the employment and the jobs which we are offering out here. So that is basically that. And then if we talk now of the marketing, so the marketing is so-due marketing, of course. Initially, marketing is is an individual's orders, and then the elderly, they are self-employed, elderly, they are groups of different related societies or partnerships which they come together, and then they open a warehouse, and then on that warehouse, of course, the distribution channels went to market levels, and then where they open the stores to people, and then the people normally come and buy, and then normally that is based on the market welfare. The market welfare means the elderly, the assistance the refugees they are getting from the organizations, or the countries we on Ontario Works Service Canada, we are getting the money from the governments, is squeezing the money per month to pay the bills, to pay the rent, and to buy the food, and then the expenditures. That is when we call market welfare. So because every that money they know, the money has been marketed and then has been welfared, where people normally do their research by themselves at the end of each market. So they do research and then they compile and then they come out with those resolutions later. So as per those copyright, of course, we have areas of the youth, area of the society, area of the economy, area of the salaries, area of the jobs and the employments, the market welfare, and then its copyright. So on which, of course, we have the copyright system. So that is based from one country to the other countries, and then we don't know these countries here, the budget is this much, then the other countries' budget is this much. Then what they know is this one, that this is their market price, and then the adjustment. When we talk of the copyrights, that's the adjustment of the country startups, and then the country's rate of purchase, and then how the customers themselves, they negotiate themselves with the sales. But when we talk here in this country, Canada, of course, we know is this one. This country has barely the copyright policies which they are using. The sales knows, yeah, this is a price, they already put the price there on the product, or they take the price on the product, or they put the price on this kind of orders, and then you may found, of course, this is the sales, right? And then each of the sales, you can read the product price and then the label. You check the label. In this label here, it says it's selections. Of course, you go for selections. Then you see the price there. So that is how the normally price people normally see there in the market for those kind of product. Otherwise, initially, that is based on the copyrights. If the copyright policy, which year were you born? So that is initially the year you were born. The price that you begin selling is the price that you do the copyrights upon, of course. And then as per the workplace management, of course, that is base areas of the boards of directors, of course. Yeah, we have initial different boards of directors. Yeah, those board of directors, of course, from the copyright policies. Of course, they have their assurance. Of course, they have their books. Of course, they have their papers, which they normally assign with the customers. And then from department 1 to all the departments, and then on which now their aim is different. Of course, some of them, they have their agents. The agents put things like this, but not like my company. So this is for examples. So you may found for the agents, they put their agents, they write to their agents, and then the agents normally go to business doors and then they knock. Also, their aim is to pay off the debts of that business. If the price goes up, they pay off, they clear off the debts, and then they're allowing this one, the purchase proceeding as a copyright policies, helping the copyrights grow. That is one thing that we recognize, and that we also want to tackle a bit of it, so that we can be able to terminate the spreads of the viruses among wherever the possibility is available. So we talk of this one, the the privilege. Some people see, if you see you're coughing, you're sneezing, and then that is they're saying you're spraying the virus. And then secondly, they're saying this is you have a tuberculosis or things like that. And then some people in our societies, they normally say this is initially the health of the individuals, and then that is the energies. The guy overspeak, and then as they overspeak, that is the speech they release to people, and then out of those speech, and then the speech, people did not get it, they produce. Initially this one did not get it, initially the other did not get it, and then who else will get it? That is when the one that get it is the one that help these individuals and then forward them new technologies. It's like downloading the apps. They download a new speech to the individuals, and then the individuals either the speech which come fresh there, altering their memos which already outdated the order, elderly outbound to the orders, and then all the inbounds which is coming from the other speakers is very fresh, and then the order is authorizations. That's why you may find here, of course, there are quite a bit different combinations of different digesting systems, So that's why you have to build the speakers also another energies. They call it blessing sometimes, but is something depends upon the individual's wills and their thoughts and their wills. Otherwise, there is upon the copyrights, the workplace management, as the orders of the board of the directors, and then that is also the concern of the educations. As well in the education field, if you go to education field, and then how do you feel yourself if you're in the education sectors? If the education sector bring to a new syllabus to the schools, they introduce a new syllabus here. This is a new syllabus. This new syllabus comes from wherever, and then could be groups, could be an individuals, could be peers, could be a society, could be a countries, could be a nation, could be wherever. But that is a regrets because the syllabus come, and then it's a phase, and then you have to be introduced to the students. That's when till they will learn to the end of it. Otherwise, everything is unknown, and then they won't even be known. So if we talk of travel, of course, travel is an individual's ideas. That's how your idea travels. That's how the individual physically travel, and the individual willing to travel. That's the abilities of that. But as a youth, of course, to exercise all these and then to bring all these ideas combined, and then people begin maybe sharing thoughts, ideas, and then building conditions, strength, and then building of communities and then the societies. Of course, that is based on the farm's works, and then based on the construction work, based on which one, and then you name it, where you qualify it, that's your own rules, because that is based on the workplace management. Otherwise, I will not declare this is my workplace, that is your workplace. I cannot declare, and then I cannot really know exactly where you want to be and then where you want to work. I cannot declare. So except who will declare, that will be you, who is where you work, and then that is where you do your own routines on daily basis to achieve what you left there to be achieved. So otherwise, if it's a concern of this or concern of all these areas, and then of course we talk of youth, yes, then we have youth meetings, now we have different things, and then that is based on the scenarios. If I'm alone, I cannot do. If you are there, of course, yours is different things, and we say you take yours to the city hall. That is why you take it to the hall, and then you negotiate it with your groups, and then as we said, that is a workplace management. But how you do your own self workplace management, I'm not 100% sure. So that's the dependabilities of your hall, and then how many occupants you have in your hall. If you have 50, you have 100, you have 200, and then you were able to buy a pizza for 200 people, or you buy water, you buy cokes, you buy each one for them all, and then liquor, and then they drink, they dance, and then they do all kind of music. Yeah, that is in regards of your own course management levels. Otherwise, on regards of overview, then the mind is portionally the health, which we already tackled that very much, and then we understand exactly what is there, and then you know your side, I know my side, every individuals know their sides. So that is basically that. So whatever the scenario is, you know the areas, some areas, that is the environmental areas, okay? So if this is the refugees environmental areas, of course the areas has been too dirty, we've been to, and then as a child we've been going to dirty areas. Yeah, that is barely the areas which we've been growing around. We do cough inhalely, we do sneeze inhalely, because the environment is very dirty. We are playing very rough because yeah, we have a lot of dusty areas, and yeah, that is why we are quite different experience. We have experience within our societies, the societies where we belong as a youth. In African countries where we've been going to schools is a different one. Yours could be different ones. So that's why if you expect we are very sick with that kind of conditions, we don't go sick, because that is merely things which we already experienced, we already documented, and no doctor attendances for those kind of orders which we persevere. You know, there are different kind of determinations we put alongside, and then we investigate their nonsense instance. So we don't care about it very much. But if you found yours is different things, you have the authorizations, which is a bad side, which people are seeing as a sickness upon your health. Yeah, the right thing is issued, of course, taking the doctor procedure is mandatorily a good thing to go direct to a doctor. And then the doctors will do the vaccinations, or they will do what is required for you for that particular areas, of course. Otherwise, the rest of the areas, whatever for us, we try to, and then we're just neglecting our own regular deals. You know, we don't know, because this is a speech, an individual speech. There are different kind of bad orders. We have neighborly orders. We have which one coming very worst, so we don't associate with it. So that is the environmental kind of orders which is coming. So there are bad orders which people are breathing in, and then doesn't associate with their nose, doesn't associate with their breathing. Therefore, they have to spit off. Therefore, they have to cough off. Therefore, they have to sneeze off. You know, that is an environmental kind of disasters which people normally experience between them, from one individual to the other individuals. That's vis-a-vis that. Otherwise, if we go whatever, how hard we go very much, we talk about that, that is nothing. No other arguments we may persevere very much. Otherwise, unless people may turn it or may see it, that the whole thing is too bully, and the whole thing is too challenging. They want to create a challenge in their society so that they may be able to conquer, and then try to live better way that they are sick on a regular basis as they want to live. Otherwise, that is just a scratch of that. And then shall you have any other things or any other question? Of course, yeah, that is me there. You can contact, and then we can foresee what is available and then what is in the futures. Otherwise, if any other than these other things which we still have problems with, of course we're still here, and then I'm still here myself, and then just configuring what to do for my companies here. And then if you also feel like, of course, being part of it, and then you want come and then maybe check your email. Of course, yeah, we have Gmail. You can access Gmail, you can access Hotmail, you can access Yahoo, you can access which one. This is just ordinary commuters we have here. You can access, of course, yeah, and then they won't even cost anything to you. You can sit here for 4 hours, for 2 hours, for 3 hours. Like this one, Oyat Francis, and this one was trying to tell me he want to come to London. Of course, yes, he can come because this one kitchen is not very far away from here. That's like 45-minute drive. Yeah, he can come, and then I'm always here, as I said. Yeah, and then I'm always available. You can come and then chat, and then if as much as you want, because these are weekends. And then also we have Silas. We talk with Silas, and then Joshua. Of course, he said he will be also coming, and then to have addition few chats, and then yeah, you can of course that is upon to your will, and then if you will, and then of course if you wanna also write something, yeah, we have emails. Of course, that is basically we do offer. But if we talk of softwares, the software is still locked, and then we are still not in the software systems. But we are, as we has been categorized, this is a level 2 systems for our company here. This is a moderate. Is not a total edition. Is not totally level 3 levels. So if we talk of, because here the Microsoft system we have here is edition. The product key which I bought for Microsoft is edition that was less than $600 one. And then mostly, this Microsoft, the level 3 is basically you get it $800, So it used to be $750. Then is very much. And then the worst thing is this one, they normally deal with these CDs. And then if you go for QuickBooks, you go for Microsoft, you go for simple account, you go for banking basics, softwares, which I do in my careers. Of course, those are basically, and then they will tell you to install them. And then the system doesn't bring them. So where do we expect? We are still demanding for those things, but they are not easily to be confused. If they normally come with the computers, of course, the computer will make it for you, like they are making these other email supplies with the Gmails or with these other web related files. If they come as a motherboards, if they are really a DVD or CD which we used to write there, and then we write CDs, other CDs there. Of course, we have a consequence. Sometimes you may find the file is slowly getting download, is downloading very slowly, and then sometimes they will warn you within 14 days they will expire, and then they will run out of those systems. We try different things. We try here like apps. We use apps. We download apps. Those apps even sometimes they won't relay upon. You cannot be able to relay upon the apps because we have banking apps there online. But if whatever you go with it there, you cannot do very much. To do wire and transfer to there, and then they cannot permit sometimes because the computer itself it has different 8 trillion bytes. 8 trillion bytes is roughly how much? That is to do with the 8,000 gigabytes. The computer itself it comes. So after this one, the system, the guy changed my systems and then alter my systems, and then now currently I have like how much gigabytes? Less than 1,200 gigabytes there on the systems. So the more I go for download apps, the app downloading the apps there to the systems will tell me this is different. Your system is not enough. So the computer is fearing to run out of the system, so they will hijack, because the internal system is very corrupt. The internal systems, the guy hijack it with a phone. They use a phone, because these phones here, like this kind of phone and tablets, they own like 16 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes of internal drives. So they are the waste, you know, like the guy maybe come with a phone and then hijack the whole order and then pulled my file to their phone and then run away with it, you know. After I come here, I found that everything went off, and then I just begin doing them again, and then I did on the other computer. That's when the whole thing begin changing there, and then changing, and then changing, and then changing. So, you know, that is overview to that. Unless the computer itself is re-updated and then by the manufacturers and by the motherboards themselves. Unless they do it. If they do it, of course the order won't disappear from the system. So you may find the system is available. But that is the only consequence we have here. But if we talk of visual, initially the beginners orders, the moderate orders, they're all available. You can play with it the most, or you can sit here and then relax, and then we have also big tools. You can play big tools if you want to, and then you go, because this is a created areas where you can play a little bit. You can share whatever you have, and then you have your days. If you found this day is very hard meeting me in the libraries, and then because I can no longer cross to the libraries, because I'm really tied up down here in my office space, then I have no other things to do other than that, because I'm running my own copyrights. I don't want to associate very much with the rest of the copyrights, because they are all authorizations. Because the more authorizations you bring with the other people copyrights, there are many other collection agencies working on you people behalf. They are consulting too much. That's why we remain sharing this kind of contents with the other people is not to find them too good, because if they do, and then if I do, and then they do that routine which they were doing to us, because their collection agencies normally do right to us, and then who also follows. That is the words we have, because of what we mentioned here. They use the society, the economy, the salaries, the jobs, the employments, and then we talk of the market, the welfares, the of course the copyright policies, the workplace management, the board of directors orders, the educations, the travels, the goals, and the farms and the food. Of course, we talk of that, and then you know all these orders, they're all combined inside there. Then that is that overview. Otherwise, that is me, WaineHz, as is it all.